Dub Nation, it's Draymond Green. My head coach Steve Kerr joins Willard and Dibs today, right here on 95.7 The Game.
That is correct. In 42 minutes, we'll talk to Coach.
Coach, finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Happier, anyway.
How many times this year have we gotten to talk to him the day after a win?
You got to Google it, but it's been maybe 4 or 5 in a row.
3 or 4.
Yeah, it's been tough. And last night, nice win, good win.
Yeah,
they played well, and they had a lead, and they held the lead. They didn't lose the lead, and they didn't lose the game, which is kind of cool.
Well, Steph was fantastic. Jonathan Kuminga has become very, very consistent. Draymond Green called him a star after the game. Sure, the Sixers were wounded. Tyrese Maxey was out. Joel Embiid was not full speed and then was knocked out of the game. So we take all that into account, but I look at everything right now. We'll get back to Niners here in just a sec, but I look at everything through the lens of the trade deadline, which is now, what, 9 days away? 8 days away?
8 days.
Okay. So I think the Warriors about a month ago were like, we don't want to trade Jonathan Kuminga. And I'm sure that emotion has only grown, but I wonder if it's grown completely out of the building. In other words, I've been in the camp as well the whole time where I'm like, I hope they don't trade Jonathan Kuminga. But there were times over the last 2 months where, depending on what your goal was, like are you still trying to win this year? What is it you're trying to set up financially for years to come? This is a complex puzzle for the Warriors right now, and I don't know if there are a lot of great answers, but it feels like, and I can remember talking about this with you about 5-6 weeks ago, I kept using the word information. Every game is information and an opportunity for these players to go out and sort of shape the narrative about him. Nobody has handled that better than Jonathan Kuminga. I would argue his play over the last 5 weeks has had him arrive at untouchableville.
It is a Ville. It's a Ville.
And I think he's there.
Well, there's only one resident of that Ville. Steph Curry is the mayor of Untouchableville.
But that's why I bring it up. Shams has brought up a bunch of times, all people not named Curry. You sure? Jonathan Kuminga, I would hope, is not on the block. I would hope that Kuminga is not on the block.
If you trade Kuminga, then you would have to trade a high-priced somebody else to bring in a real impactful guy who's going to help you not only now, but in the future as well. And if you do that, does it make you a championship team more than what you have right now? I don't see what that trade could possibly be.
Agreed.
In terms of who you might get back. And the way he's playing and the praise he's getting from Draymond Green and others makes me think also he's an untouchableville. But the more I look at this team, the more I think that they're not going to make any trade outside of maybe a Chris Paul shuttle for another veteran who's on an expiring, a guy who can actually help you and play now. I don't think you're trading anybody. You're not trading Wiggins, I don't think.
Well, I mean, that's the one that everybody sort of has been thinking, that's the one you want to move on from. But it has changed. His play has been really good. Steve Kerr telling you guys last week that Draymond Green has unlocked the ability for Kuminga and Wiggins to play together. And if that's the case, then you do start to wonder, not so much, are they a contender again? They're not. But what's the point of these trades that you want to make? What's the point?
Right.
Trade Chris Paul for an expiring deal. He is an expiring deal.
Right.
Trade Clay for an expiring deal. He is an expiring deal. So what's the point? Are you trying to win now? And if you are, there's someone out there that's going to do that better than some of the guys that you already have continuity with. And if you're trying to open up finances for the future, I'd argue that already exists. So I still think there may be a move because the Warriors feel like they should make a move. But I'm in agreement with you that it is not very obvious what that move is. There's not a lot that makes any sense.
Right.
They're in a real weird spot.
They're in a spot where you hope to get acquisitions at the deadline in terms of Chris Paul and GP2. And if they get healthy and you still believe that your team is good enough to make a run, then you don't make a trade. And that, to me, comes more from Mike Dunleavy Jr. and those above him, including Joe Lacob. I think Steve Kerr already believes that. So does Mike Dunleavy think that as well? Does the Brain Trust think that if you get GP2 back and Chris Paul back, that with this new Kuminga and with Andrew Wiggins playing like he used to, are you good enough to make a run? If they think that's a yes from them, dog, then you're not going to make a trade.
Yeah, I don't know. Like every time somebody throws one of these, I've been on
Zach
the trade.
LaVine.
Oh, God, Zach LaVine. Like, what are you doing? For what?
Right.
For what? Like
For Clay.
Okay, great. So another scorer who you don't like the way Clay's defense has declined. So let's get someone who's never played defense ever in his life and can lock up big money for like 4 more years instead of 1. And you'll find people. I mean, I guess on social media you can find anything. But Zach LaVine. It's like the worst idea you could possibly come up with. Zach LaVine on the Warriors. From 8 different angles, it's the worst idea you could possibly come up with in any way, shape, or form. But I get it. He's a name, and he's put the ball in the bucket before, so yay. Horrible idea.
I'm with you.
0 fit.
People love it. He's younger. He's got that ha-ha.
Oh.
He can fill it up.
The Clinton Dicks?
Totally.
That's what I call it.
Thank you, ha-ha Clinton Dicks.
Ha-ha.
Coming off an 8-point performance at Toronto in a win.
Superb. Mwah. Restaurant quality.
That's why the more we think about, and we'll get back to the Niners here in 30 seconds, but the idea of what trade could you make? I don't see a trade that makes you better now and or makes you more financially flexible in the future. I just don't see it.
The only thing is if Wiggins is playing his way into a real contender being like, we want that guy, and the Warriors see someone who can come in and maybe take a little bit more of a back seat in a wing position alongside Kuminga and have that contract expire quicker than Andrews does.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I don't know if that exists. Does that exist with the Dallas Mavericks? That's a team that's reportedly had eyes for Wiggins. I don't know. The paths to a trade for the Warriors are so narrow. There's just not a lot out there that makes any sense.